What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be covering one of the most common questions that I get from B2B leaders, go-to-market leaders, bootstrap founders who are just trying to get into clay.com, but they have a challenge. That challenge is they're typically faced with figuring out how to use the platform first and foremost, but also realizing how the crediting system can be kind of expensive to actually get good outputs. So what I'm actually going to show you guys in this video is how to use Clay without burning any of your credits. So we'll do a couple different workflows here that will basically show you how to build a list inside of Clay, how we can actually enrich those contacts inside of Clay without using any credits at all. Now, I'm going to dive into the platform and just show you how to do it live. So let's dig into it. Okay, so let's go into Clay. We will create a new table. So let's just hit create new table. So in this specific instance, what I would recommend doing if you're looking to just start with a free table is either do find companies or find people. So to just show you the workflow, we'll start with companies and then we'll find some people at these companies. So this is very similar to a LinkedIn sales nav search or just like a regular LinkedIn search. There's a number of filtering criteria you can leverage to get a good output. So in this specific case, let's just create an example data set. So let's say we're targeting 11 to 50 employees. Let's actually go 51 to 200 employees. Let's say we want people in the software development industry. So this includes many SaaS businesses, so that could be useful for you. And let's make sure that they're based in the United States. So let's see how many software development companies exist in the US that are 50 to 200 employees. So there's around 10,000 different results here, which is a pretty good data set. So the way that you would want to hone this down more is you can either include some keywords here that you want to include or exclude. So let's say we don't want any like agencies, like perhaps we don't want a software development agency if we're looking for SaaS as an example. So we're at 10,000 here. Let's see if we add SaaS, if that will include anything else. All right, cool. So that really cut it down. So as you can see, right, this keyword inclusion is going to really make a difference here. If you're going to be excluding keywords, that's also very important. So you can basically use these keywords to get your list and hone it down, or you can keep it broad and then basically score the list, which I talk about in other videos and won't get into today. But basically the goal here is to just get a pretty solid list, and you'll want to continue to actually like filter it down once you've built the list. But anyway, let's just preview this, and we're probably going to be back to 10K. All right, cool. So we have 10K. Let's import that into a new table. So this is how you do it for free. Basically just do the basic profile, you hit continue for free, you'll be good to go. If you want to enrich the company with lots of data, this is going to include like their growth, how many specific individuals they have in a specific type of role. You know, you have specific news, you have tech stack, job openings, total funding, like all of these are pretty relevant depending on your specific use case. But if you want to keep the cost really, really low, just start with the most basic profile. So you hit continue for free. So now you have a list. It's showing 50, but we're actually at about 10K, which is great. So what we want to do now, assuming this list is filtered in a way that means all of these are going to be relatively valid companies. So what we'll want to do from here is you click this actions button and then you say find people at these companies. So what you can do is a couple different things. You can exclude people, which is really relevant if you are building like a secondary list. But in this case, let's just say we're starting from scratch. So let's just include some important individuals at the company. So let's say we want the VP of sales. We want VP of marketing. Pretty simple, right? You can update their experience here. You can give a max 12 months in the role. Let's say we only want the individual to be based in the United States. So if their company is in the US, they might still be somewhere else. So we want to just say, hey, let's find people in the US. You can go even further into city and state if that's relevant to you. And then just hit preview people and we'll see what we got. All right, cool. So we got 99 people. Pretty small list. What I would suggest doing is building out even more. So let's see if we had, see if that increases it. Yep, so we're getting a few more results here. So assuming this is how big as your list is, like you want to just keep filtering this, adding new results, hitting preview, just keep whittling away at this list here to get a good amount of results. So in this case, we'll just hit import. We'll import it to a new table. And again, you have options here. You can just do basic profiles. So this will be free. This is going to be really useful for you. If you want more data, you can just enrich their profile. You can get their personal email. You'll get their work email, their mobile phone. You can see there's a lot of credits being used here. So what you want to do is just hit continue for free. So now we have a list of 250 or so prospects at these good fit companies. Bang. So this is just one way to get started with the list. I'm going to share like another example. So here I'll say you can use APIs to enrich your data without Clay credits. So the benefit of Clay is that it's super flexible. So if you want, you can just use their pre-made waterfalls to find work emails. Right, so say, hey, we need to find their work email. You can just throw this in and it'll do a waterfall and try to find the email of Matthew Bleeker, the VP of Marketing at Clean Power Research, with each of these data providers. This will cost 2 credits if it finds it at Find Email. It'll cost 1 credit if it finds it with Lead Magic, 2 credits with Prospeo, so on and so forth, right? So you can see pretty quickly how your credits are going to get burned by this specific strategy. So what you can do instead is leverage an API. So to get your APIs hooked up with Clay, there's a handful of different ways you can go about it. But basically, let's just go back to the work email. Let's say, hey, we have a Prospeo account that we want to use. What you can do is you click into it. You click select the account. There's a button over here that says manage accounts. You select that. So what you can actually do is add a connection, and then you go to Prospeo, and then you can add an API key. So the benefit of doing this is pretty simple. You will be using the credits from Prospeo if you're using that subscription service instead of using the credits in Clay. And again, the benefit there is you're not paying the markup. So Clay does a small markup for every single data pull that you're actually doing. And so if you're using Prospeo for your lists and you have a subscription on the side, just set up your API and it will run your API without using Clay credits. So that's the benefit of using the API. So let's check this one off. And so you can just continue to add API keys for pretty much every single tool that they have on here. So for example, if you're using Apollo, you can set up your API with them. If you're using Clearbit or ClearOut Phone or Data Gamma or Find Email, Google Sheets, really no brainer. OpenAI, this is one that I highly recommend using, and I'm going to share that one in a little bit. And then, ICPs is a solid email finder, Lead Magic. If you're using Ocean.io, that'll be if you're using like AI lookalikes to find new companies that are a good fit. You got Prospeo here. You have Smart Lead, which I'll share in a little bit, but this is basically just connecting it with your sending tool and so on and so forth, right? And you have a email checking service here in Zero Bounds. So you can basically just set up as many APIs as you have subscriptions for, which will allow you then to just use the existing subscriptions versus the credits in Clay. So that's going to really reduce your cost overall. So a pretty good little tip there in terms of just saving credits as you use the tool. All right, so to scrape custom data sets using webhooks. So in order to use a webhook, you've got to have a different service that you want to pull your data from. So for example, you can use a tool like Apify. They have a lot of different out-of-the-box subscriptions that you might want to use. So we can go to the store and show you kind of what it looks like. So this is Apify. Lots of good stuff in here. Pretty much limited by your imagination. You can use Google Maps extractor, and Instagram scrapers, TikTok scrapers, just broad web scrapers, LinkedIn scrapers, Apollo scrapers, everything under the sun pretty much exists here. And so when you find the data sources you're looking for, you would just click into it. So Google Maps extractor, for example, is a good tool to use because if you're targeting local businesses, they might not have a presence on LinkedIn. And so Google Maps extraction can actually help you find those businesses to go and do outreach to. So let's just say this is the tool that you want to use. What you can do is click into integrations, and then you can set up the HTTP webhook. We'll need to get a URL, which we'll do inside of Clay. So in order to do that, you want to just start by going to the create a new table. Then you'll just type in webhook, so you can monitor the webhook. Just do create a new table, and this will allow you to pull in the webhook. So if you just copy this and you plug it into the URL, you name it, you save it, you select the runs, you want to do it every time it runs, then it'll pull through and you'll get a bunch of data that is relevant to you. So this is one that I've pulled up and used in the past, but basically this is a webhook pulling from Clearbit. And so you can see this is the URL that we're using, and then this is the domain. And so that's what it's actually pulling, and then we'll actually do some enrichment here. So that's what data we're actually getting from the webhook, and then you can use that to then enrich further, whether you want to do it inside of Clay, you want to use an additional API to get more data out of it, but that's just how you would get data from outside of Clay into Clay using a webhook. Okay, so now let's talk about building out the waterfall enrichment. So we shared this a little bit earlier, but we'll go through it real quick. So simply just do work email, and then you have your lists here, and then just make sure you select whatever your find email account is. If you have one, add your APIs for the subsequent ones, you hit save, and then you'll run it. And if it finds it with find email, you'll see that, okay, great, it ran the credit in find email and it didn't run the credit in Clay. So you'll actually save your credit there. So that's how you do that one. Let's talk about personalization with AI without using credits. So this is another good one. And basically what you can do inside of Clay is use ChatGPT or any of the other models. So if you're using Claude, if you're using Gemini, you can hook up your API key, which I highly recommend doing. So you do that, and then you can use it to do whatever sort of personalization you need. So they have templates here that I would suggest, looking into. And so you can click into any of these, and then it'll go and do that job exactly how you want it. So you can go find company domain from company name. You can find a contact's LinkedIn profile URL. You can find a company's LinkedIn URL profile. There's so many things you can do in here, and I'd suggest just clicking around and also putting together some thoughtful prompts yourself. But instead of using 1 credit per row, which is what it would be for 4.0, and then 4.0 mini, it's half a credit, you're going to be using a small fraction. So let's just do a quick, so we have their company description. So this is pretty simple. Tell me if this company is B2B or B2C in the description. And so we will just run it on 10 rows. Again, we're using the 4.0 mini. So you'll see, okay, cool. Based on the description, the company operates in B2B. Great. And then it gives you the cost. The cost is 0.00005. So that is insanely small. So if you have a list of 284, that's going to cost basically 1 cent to do that whole analysis. So you can see like relative to, 284 credits, it's going to be a substantial savings for you. So anytime you're using AI inside of Clay, make sure you have your API set up with whatever your preferred AI engine is, and just go crazy. So that's how I would do that one. This last one, it's not really a credit saver. It's more of just a useful kind of element if you're doing outreach using Smart Lead. Basically, all you'll need to do is hit add column. You'll do add another enrichment. You'll do Smart Lead, and you can select any of these. You can update the lead. You can add the lead to campaign. You can remove the lead. You can look them up. You can do all different kinds of stuff. In this case, we'll just add the lead to the campaign. And so again, you want to plug in your account. Then you'll want to enter any fields if necessary. You'll add your campaign ID, whatever the email address is for that particular prospect, any other relevant data that you want to pull through. You can add some custom fields. And if you have any run settings, meaning like if you want to run this only if the job title is Vice President of Marketing, you could do that, right? So you say, okay, only run if, job title includes like, say, marketing, right? So we did a search of marketing and sales. Perhaps this is a list or a campaign that you only want to be doing outreach to marketing. So in this case, it's only going to, run if there's a marketing leader. So then you would hit that, you hit save, plug it all the way into Smart Lead, and you'll be good to go. So that is the quick and dirty on how to use Clay without burning your credits. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. I hope you found some value in this one. I'm going to be doing more Clay tutorials. Wanted this one to be really concise, to the point, kind of hard hitting. If you found value in it, like, subscribe, let me know what you liked in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Talk to you then. Peace.